may connection sila sa isang idea or concept. Halimbawa, or example, no? Kapag sinabi natin yung word na tree, hindi na siya basta tunog na tree, no? May concept tayong naiisip about it could yung tree, isa siyang meron siyang mga leaves, meron siyang mga dahon, no? So it means to say meron tayong concept na naiisip, no? Kapag sinabi yung tree, it's not just a word, it's not just a sound, no? Pero may naiisip tayong concept to it, no? So dito niya pinakilala yung dalawang parts ng linguistic side. We have the signifier and signified. Kapag signifier, it means to say it's the sound, the word, the symbol used to represent something. Ibig sabihin, ito yung physical form. It is the physical form ng isang sign. Ito yung actual word, sound, symbol na ginagamit natin. For example, yung word na tree, ulit, no? Yung sound niya is the signifier. So, kapag signified naman, on the other hand, it's the concept or meaning associated with that sign. Kapag sinabi natin, kapag narinig natin yung word na tree, na naiisip natin na yung concept ng isang malaking halaman, or may mga branches, or may mga dahon ito. No? So, yun yung signifier and signified. Okay? So, moving on, no, he explained that the relationship between signifier and signified is arbitrary, meaning there is no natural connection between a word and its meaning. So, sinabi niya, language is arbitrary, no? Is one of the most important idea of Saussure, no, that a language is arbitrary, meaning, no, there is no natural connection or walang connection yung isang word at ang meaning ito. It just have or nagkakaroon lang ng meaning yung isang word because nag-agree, no, or pinagkasunduan ng isang society na yun yung gagamitin nila. Okay? So, moving on, we have here the other important concepts ni Saussure, which is the long and parole. Okay. Kapag ang long, it's the shared system or rules of language. Kapag parole naman, actual speech or individual use of language. So kapag ang long, it refers to the language system shared by community. And moving on, again, ang long, it refers to the language system shared by community. No, ito yung mga rules, grammar, vocabulary na alam natin at sinusunod natin, no? Of course. So, for example, in English, we know that a sentence usually follows a certain structures like she reads a book. No, we understand that this is correct because we share the same knowledge of English grammar. So that shared system is called long. Okay? So on the other hand naman, yung parole, no, it is the actual use of language by an individual. So ito naman yung paraan, no? It's the way kung paano natin ginagamit ang language when we speak or write. So for example, when a person says, no, I am tired because I studied all night. That specific sentence is an example of parole because it is the actual expression of a person. So, in the simple terms, no, long is a system of rules in language, while parole is the actual use that language in real communication. Moving on, let's talk about the importance of Ferdinand de Saussure. So, established structural linguistic, influence modern studies of language, meaning and connection. So, of course, mahalaga si Saussure because he changed, no, binago niya yung kung paano pinag-aaralan ng language. It's not just hindi lamang tinitignan yung history ng language, kundi kung paano gumagana ang language bilang isang system. No? Yung mga concept niya tulad ng linguistic, sign, signifier, signified, long, and parole ay, of course, naging foundation ng modern linguistics. Okay? So, last, we have Noam Chomsky. So, si Noam Chomsky, American linguist, philosopher, and cognitive scientist, introduced generative grammar and universal grammar. So, si Noam Chomsky, isa siyang American linguist, philosopher, and of course, cognitive scientist. Na, he is isa sa mga naging influential figures sa modern linguistics. Of course, kilala siya bilang founder of generative grammar, and dahil sa kanyang theory ng universal grammar. Okay? So, let's talk about his contributions. No? Yung contribution niya, first, we have the generative grammar. Ano ba yun? No? According to Chomsky, no, ang language daw is not just a simple collection of words and use na natututunan natin, no? But, no, yung tao, meron siyang ability or meron siyang capacity to create or to understand infinite number of sentences kahit hindi pa natin na-encounter itong mga words or itong mga sentences before, no? So, for example, no, even though we do not memorize all the possible sentences sa English, no, kaya natin gumawa ng bagong sentences because of we have understanding, no, sa structure of ng language. Okay? So, language as a system that allows human to create unlimited sentences. Human can produce and understand new sentences beyond what they have learned. Okay? So, next we have the universal grammar. So, ang universal grammar, humans have an innate ability to acquire language. Language learning is influenced by biological and cognitive abilities. So, it is one of the most famous idea ni Chomsky, yung universal grammar. So, according to this, no, humans, no, they have a natural ability or built-in capacity para matuto ng language. Sabihin, no, hindi lang tayo natututo because of the environment, no? Meron din tayong biological ability or ang utak ng tao ay, of course, it helps, no, sa language acquisition. Okay? So, ito, by, speaking of language acquisition, his third contribution is the language acquisition device or LAD. Okay? So, it is a natural capacity of the human brain to learn language, helps children recognize and develop language patterns. So, pinakilala rin ni Chomsky yung, of course, the idea of LAD or a language acquisition device. No? Ito raw, no, according to him, it is the natural ability ng utak ng tao or human brain na tumulong or helping the kids or the children to learn the language. We have example, no, yung bata, no, hindi siya kailangan turuan ng bawat sentences na sasabihin niya. But, by the means of exposure or interaction, no, natutunan niya yung patterns ng language. Okay? So, moving on, let's talk about the importance of Noam Chomsky. Okay. Of course, si Noam Chomsky, he changed the view of language learning, emphasized the role of the human mind in language acquisition, influenced modern linguistic, psychology, and cognitive science. So, of course, mahalaga si Chomsky because he changed the perspective about language learning, no? Kasi nga before his ideas, no, maraming scholars na they believe na itututunan lang ang language through imitation and experience. Pero pinakita ni Chomsky, no, he showed na may malaking role yung human mind, no, or yung biological ability sa pagkatuto, no, ng language. So, sa kanyang theories, yung mga theories ay naging foundation of modern linguistics, psychology, and cognitive science. So, moving on, now let's go to another topic that we have, which is the historical development of language, evolutionary or Darwinian. Okay? So, now that we know, the scholars who shape the study of language, let us proceed, to how language itself developed over time. So, in this topic, now we will discuss the evolutionary perspective of language, particularly the ideas of Charles Darwin about how human language may have developed from earlier forms of communication. So we will explore how language is connected to human evolution, how it differs from animal communication, and how researchers explain the possible reasons behind the development of human language. Okay, so moving on. Let's start with Charles Darwin. No, so si Charles Darwin, no, he was a naturalist, no, who known for his theory of evolution. So aside from studying how species develop and change over time, no, he also explored the possible origins of human language through an evolutionary perspective. So sa kanyang book na The Descent of Man, no, he discussed the similarities between human connection and animal communication. So according to Darwin, no, language did not just suddenly appear. Hindi siya na parang isang araw lang nagkaroon agad ng complete language system yung mga tao. No, instead, no, he believed that language gradually developed from simpler forms of communication such as sounds, gestures, and emotional expressions. So basically, no, habang nag-evolve yung humans, no, mas nagiging advanced yung kanilang thinking and social interactions. Mas nagiging complex din yung ways nila to or ways of communication nila. Okay? So, let's go with animal communication and human language. No. So, si Darwin, no, ging-observe niya na animals have their own ways of communicating. For example, animals use sounds, gestures, and signals to express their emotions, give warnings, and of course, interact with each others. So, however, the main difference is that human language is more complex. Meaning, while animals can communicate certain messages, humans have the ability to create unlimited words, meanings, and idea because of our advanced cognitive abilities. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang tayo, hindi lang tayo nagpapahayag ng basic needs or emotions. No, we can also discuss abstract ideas, tell stories, create theories, and of course, communicate complex thoughts through language. No? So next, animals as an evolutionary process. So si Darwin, he viewed language development as a gradual process called the descent with modification. This means just like the living organisms change over generations, language also change and develop over time. So hindi nananatiling pareho yung isang language, habang lumilipas yung panahon. It's changed depending on the people who use it, their culture, and their environment also. Like for example, yung isang parent, one parent language can develop into different daughter languages. Parang isang family tree, may isang ancestor na nagkaroon ng iba't ibang branches. In the same way, one original language can produce different languages over time. So, meron tayong two views on the evolution of language dito. Meron tayong natural selection, adoption theory, and language as a byproduct of evolution. So first view is adoption theory. So this theory suggests that a language evolved because it helps humans survive. Communication become useful because early humans needed to cooperate with each other. For example, kailangan nilang mag-warning kapag may mga danger in terms of danger, mag-share ng information about food, and of course, coordinate during mga activities nila like pag-hunt, hunting. So, through communication, humans became better at working together, which increased their chances of survival. So basically, language developed because it gives human an advantage in adapting to their environment. Okay, so next is we have the language as byproduct of evolution. So the second perspective, it suggests that language may not have developed specifically for survival daw. Instead, it may have developed because of changes in the human brain and intelligence. Kasi according sa mga scholar katulad na lang ni Noam Chomsky, no, humans have an innate ability to acquire language because of our advanced cognitive abilities. Meaning, no, habang lumalaki yung capacity ng human brain to think and understand complex ideas, nagiging possible rin yung development ng complex language.